The Schecter Stealth. What can I say about this thing that isn't already inferred by a mere glance at it? The matte black finish and rosewood fretboard should tell you everything. This bass was made to do metal, and it can do metal. Let's talk about this particular bass. This bass was given to me for some maintenance work by a guy I met on Facebook Marketplace. So he cut a deal for Billy Balazar to buy a bass, $50 less than he was asking. So I figured I'd go ahead and render some services to his own bass as a thank you. I could never have anticipated the accumulation of grime and filth this bass had gathered. But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. This bass was made to do metal. And who among us is the least caring for their instruments? Who carelessly throws them around? Who puts them in the gig bag without a wipe down? Who sweats and drools and bleeds on their instruments the most? I can tell you that the jazz musicians do not act this way. This bass is emblematic of a culture that doesn't give a damn about material possessions. It is built to be destroyed. While you may form an emotional attachment to this bass on a case-to-case basis, it was clearly intended to be a tool. It is not the epitome of boutique exoticism. It is a utilitarian instrument that delivers the tone you need to do metal. Nothing about this bass says luxury, and it doesn't want you to think that. See, you can get these basses for about $300 to $500 depending on where you live, and I can't help but think it's hard to argue with the value you get for that kind of money. When I first handled this bass, it played like you'd expect. Sticky strings, nasty feeling neck, and a tone that made me want to turn my head away from the speakers in shame. But after just the modest amount of work you should be seeing on screen, it seemed to transform in my hands. It was like this thing struggling to be born into a world that wished for it to fail. I can tell that these instruments are aimed at a specific person, and I believe that to be the metalcore archetype. Look at it. Take it in. If this thing doesn't scream 2000s drop D riffs, nothing does. This bass is targeted for a time in music where you only needed to use the low E string to be considered a successful bassist. What do you mean that riff uses the A string? I've never had to use it before. Okay, so I can just play 035 over that, right? You want me to go past the 12th fret? On bass? Unfortunately, I believe this bass was released long after the time where it could have seen genuine success. If Schecter had released this bass in the early 2000s just in time to catch the metalcore wave, we probably would have seen these institutionalized into metal the same way we see Jackson and ESP7 strings. This one is dated as a 2013, and metalcore was long in decline by that time. All of the high schoolers who were listening to Trivium in 2005 suddenly had mortgages, car payments, and jobs to attend. They weren't interested in seeing the Bullet for My Valentine live tour anymore. But that's not to say all hope is lost for this bass. It can be brought back to life. We merely need a perspective shift on what stereotypes constitute an aesthetic look within a genre. For instance, black metal. Have a black metal band play a Schecter C1 matte black while the bassist plays a Schecter Stealth. Suddenly the design doesn't look so dated. Suddenly we go from a 2000s aesthetic to a more modern goth aesthetic. It would breathe a new life into a rapidly antiquating design philosophy. These basses are not meant for collectors. If you need a good looking and good performing road warrior, consider finding a Schecter Stealth. And while I can't recommend it for those of you playing church gigs, for the metal musicians out there, don't let this relic-worthy aesthetic fool you. It plays and sounds like a contemporary bass. Perhaps more importantly, it's comfortable to play. It has weight to imply quality, but not enough to be shoulder-crushing. And despite my supposed mixed opinions, this bass is worthy of stage time, and for the price you really can't ask much more. I enjoyed working on the Schecter Stealth, and I'll probably enjoy working on your gear too. If you have a guitar, bass, or amp you would like to see reviewed, contact me at the Black Rosary email address or shoot us a message on the Black Rosary Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any insights for the Schecter Stealth, be sure to share your opinions below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed Existential Rig Review, and stay tuned for the next one.